Good morning. Happy Thursday. This is the last day of April. It's hard to believe we're already at the end of this month. And today we're actually again back kind of live in the field. And this time we're down with Katy Miller, who is with Citri-Care in Orosi, Orange Cove area. It is absolutely beautiful part of California, and she is a citrus grower as well as a kiwi grower. We're going to talk with her in just a bit, but she's literally out in the field in her grove, so we're going to get to see that. But today we'll start out a little bit differently. We're going to do introductions, but we have an opportunity to share with all of you a very exciting new program for all of you farms students out there, whether you were in the farms program this year, whether you're an alumni, whether you were in Farms Advanced this year, you all qualify. So I'm gonna turn it over to Dana Baker, and she is going to talk to you about this incentive program.
Good morning. And good morning, everybody. Yes, I'm Dana Baker, and I'm the Tehama County Farms Leadership Coordinator. And I'm very excited to get to share with you this incentive program we're launching starting tomorrow. So I'm gonna pull up the little screen. Let's see, this is my first time doing this whole share screen thing. Here we go. All right, so there it is. And we are doing an incentive, and it is going to be, like Mary said, for all of you that have either are currently involved in a farms program, whether it's Farms Leadership or Farms Advanced, whether you have done Farms Leadership at some point in your high school career, or whether you're an alumni, so maybe you're already in college, you're still gonna qualify. So the way it's gonna work is every day that you participate, whether you jump on live or whether you go and watch it on our YouTube channel, you will qualify for one entry into the drawing at the end of the month. You also will receive additional entries for each quality question that you ask. So obviously for that one, you have to be during the live discussion. You need to either use the question and answer or the chat tab and ask a good quality question. Those top 3 students who attend the most meetings, webinars between May 1st and May 29th, the top 3 will automatically receive a Chromebook. And then those of you that were entered into the drawings, you will be doing drawings for Chromebook out of that hat, basically. So if for some reason you're not able to watch live, you can go to our YouTube channel and you can watch it on there. You have to like the video that you watched, and you also have to reach out to your local regional coordinator. So if you're Tehama County, you reach out to me. You know, if you're down in the Fresno, Central Valley area, Katy, Eddie's Monterey, those of you in Sac Valley will reach out to Joseph, and then Bakersfield, you can reach out down to Romy. So we'll all be waiting for you to reach out to us. If you need contact information, don't hesitate to ask. We can get it to you. But we're really excited because we think this is a great opportunity, not only for you guys to potentially get a free Chromebook, which I'm sure you could all utilize now, but also for us to, you know, continue to share with you and have our farmers and resource managers continue to share about, you know, the happenings up and down the state. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask, and we're looking forward to this. I think this is a great opportunity, and I'm thankful that we have the grant funding through CDFA to be able to do this. So this is a great program. So,
yay! Thank you, Dana. And yeah, if others, we'll go ahead and do kind of the normal round of introductions. So you just heard from Dana, and let's see who's next to introduce themselves throughout the state. Looks like Katy, you are up.
Good morning, my name is Katy Wortman. I am the Central Valley Farms Coordinator coming to you from Fresno. Welcome today, and thank you, Katy Miller, for being with us.
Go ahead, Romy.
Good morning. My name is Romy Wattenbarger. I'm the Kern County Farms Coordinator here in Bakersfield. And yeah.
Ready for the day.
I forgot.
Very good. No, we didn't have a question today, so you're good. All right, go ahead, Letty.
Hi, I'm Letty Hernandez. I run the program in Monterey and Santa Cruz counties. I'm excited for this discussion.
Great. Well, me too. So perfect timing. We've got Katy Miller with us today. And again, Katy is, she describes herself very humbly, but she is really the force behind Citri-Care in Orosi, Orange Cove area. She says she's the office manager, she's the salesperson, she does all the accounting, she does everything really, obviously. And we're thrilled to have her. She and her company and her farm have been a part of the Farms Leadership Program in the Fresno region. And it was a favorite field day last year. And so we can't get out there right now. So Katy, this is the next best thing. We see you out in your groves, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to you to introduce yourself.
Great. Hi, Mary and team. Thanks so much for inviting me today. I'm really excited to be a part of the Coffee with the Farmers, and really just wish you were all here so you could experience the blossoms and all the bees that are out here, and that, you know, if you were here, we would taste some citrus and we'd just have a great time. So this is the second best thing. So as Mary said, my name is Katy Miller, and I'll just jump right in and tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up in Northern California and went to high school in Placerville, and then and in high school I was in 4-H, and I raised animals, had different animal projects. And then I went to UC Davis for my undergraduate degree, where I majored in agricultural science and management with an animal science degree, or an animal science emphasis. And so that was an ag economics animal science cross for my major, which I really thought I was going to go to vet school and be a vet. And then I kind of deterred from that path, and I decided that I didn't want to be a vet, so I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I worked in the meat lab on campus at Davis, and then I graduated and decided more school sounded good. So I went down to Cal Poly Pomona, where I studied meat science and worked toward my master's degree. And then while I was attending college, I met a guy. Funny,
Funny how that happens, yes.
I know. How does that happen? We meet a guy, and he was from Reedley, and he is a third-generation farmer. And so met a guy, we started dating, and then pretty soon it was pretty clear that this was my guy. And so we got married, and I moved up to the area, and I did work in the meat industry for a little while. I worked in quality assurance for Zaki Farms, and they had a plant right here in Dinuba, and I got some hands-on experience there. And then I actually jumped over to education for a while, and I worked at Reedley College, our local community college. And I did some teaching, and I did some grant coordinating, and I was involved with some international student programs. And then kind of ran that course for a while. And then I worked in a packing house area for a while as the grower accounting rep. And all the whole while I was having other careers, I also worked for Citri-Care in the evenings, doing payroll, bookkeeping, accounting. And it's probably been close to 10 years ago now, maybe, yeah, about 10 years ago, that I jumped out of working elsewhere and have worked full-time for Citri-Care. And we've taken on a lot more duties and responsibilities over the time.
Yes, you definitely have. And I forgot that we have that major in common at UC Davis. Because I went to UC Davis. I was also ag science and management, but I was the plant science option. So that's really cool that you and I have that in common, because that major no longer exists. So we are some special folks out there. But so this is great, Katy. It's great to see you and to hear a little bit more about your background. And so tell us then now really about what is Citri-Care? What do you do? What do you grow? You've got these crazy looking pieces of fruit in front of you. And so I guess we'll talk about those in a little bit, but first talk about the company and what you do, what you grow, and who you sell to.
Perfect. Thanks, Mary. So our company Citri-Care was founded by my husband's grandparents and his dad in the early 1960s. And they started out as citrus growers and, you know, kind of your basics, oranges, and then diversified into lemons. They tried growing limes for a little while, but it was a little too cold here. So it was kind of mainline citrus products, the commodities of navel oranges and Valencias and lemons. And in about 2008 or 9, we planted a variety block of specialties. And that encompasses everything from an Australian finger lime all the way up to a Tahitian pomelo. And if you were here, we would go pick pomelos and we would go smell the blossoms and see the young fruit developing. And then I'd cut everyone a piece and have you taste the pomelo because it's outstanding in flavor. And
Can
so,
you hold that, Katie, can you hold that whole thing up so people can see how big it is? Because it's pretty big,
yeah,
right?
this is a
Show-
pomelo. And
Yeah.
I already kind of sliced it so I could offer you a slice. This is a smaller one. They do get a little bit larger. Some of the big ones are kind of like a oversized softball.
Mhm.
But we kind of have all sizes out here and they just taste magnificent, just like a lemon lime soda. So they're really sweet and really flavorful. So we continue to grow mainline products, you know, your oranges, your lemons. We did go into some Citri-Care pink navels, which a lot of people love the Citri-Cares. We also grow a lot of different mandarins. And people don't realize there are multiple different varieties of mandarins. People are familiar with the brand names that are out there in the marketplace. And those brand name ones, they can be a different variety in that bag all through the season. So sometimes you'll get a one that tastes really good, and other times it won't be quite so good because it's a different variety. So we do grow all the different varieties of mandarins, and I love to let people know what variety they're eating at the time because it's really important.
What is the season for, while you're talking about, that's actually a really good point. What is the season for harvest for most, in a normal year? And I know right now is crazy, but what is normally kind of your season for when you start harvesting something to the when you end it?
Perfect. Yeah, so we start harvesting with a specialty variety, the Buddha hand, this guy right here. This is a fingered citron or a Buddha hand. And they start in October. They're ripe and ready to go. And then we start the mainline citrus in late November, early December. And then we pick up more specialties, and we finish harvesting specialties in April or May for the most part. But then the oranges continue on. We have some late navel varieties that can last through May or June. And then we have Valencia, which harvest anytime from June to September.
So pretty much the whole year you are harvesting something. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize it was so expansive. That's really. And do you have your own packing shed, or where does it go once it leaves your farm?
Great question. So the mainline products, oranges, lemons, mandarins, we contract with a packing house to pick, pack, and market those for us. And so they can handle the large volume that we have of those commodities. We sign up in advance, and then they pretty much dictate when they want to harvest that. They let us know, hey, we've got a great market right now for this variety. We're ready to go. Your fruit's ready. And they dictate when it can be harvested. They coordinate the harvest. They take it to their packing house up in Sanger, pack it into cartons, and sell it. Now the specialties are a little different, and just about 4 or 5 years ago, we started doing that ourselves. And we were contacted by a specialty produce market company down in the LA area, and they wanted to buy product directly from us. And so we said, well, we'll give it a shot. So in those years, we have built our own little small packing house that next time we can, we'll have to have everyone out for a tour. And so we do pack our own specialties. We have a crew, we harvest our own specialties, we pack them, and we arrange trucking and they go down to LA to our main customer.
Yeah, so who are some of those main customers that you have in LA? And I know you're trying to grow that, and right now it's not really working, but because we're all in a time of craziness in the market, but who are your normal places that buy your lovely specialties there?
Right. So the main customer, and you can look for their produce at your market, is Frida's Specialty Produce, and we have we have a really good relationship with Frida's, and so they're our main specialty produce customer. We also have a few sideline customers that do some internet sales and do that, so they're more local.
Okay, so show us some more of those. I'm seeing the finger lime, and it's like closest to the camera, so that's probably one of the reasons I'm seeing it. But show us some of the other specialties that you have, because they are really fun.
They are fun. So this is the Australian finger lime, and you just cut them across the fruit, and then you can just squeeze out all these little citrus beads or pearls. It's just like caviar, but it's citrus, so they call it citrus caviar. Very limey flavor, although a very unique flavor. So that's that's one of my favorite pieces. And then we also have a lime quat here. And so this is like your own little personal lime. You know, when you get a slice of lemon or lime and you're sitting next to your friend at the restaurant and you go to squeeze it on your fish taco and the juice like squirts your neighbor. This one, you just cut it straight in half, and you just squeeze it and all the juice just goes right on your piece of fish taco. So those are pretty cool. It's called a Eustace Lime Quat, so that's a fun piece. And ready and ripe right now and hanging on the trees are the Mandarin Quats. This is a Mandarin Kumquat cross, and you can just take the end off like that and then just suck the juice right out like a natural juice box.
So, and I know, speaking of that, you have a really unique farm stand out on the front of your farm there, and it literally looks like a big orange cut out with a little farm, you know, has a spot in there for your lovely produce. Do people come by? Is that something that they do? They know your products and they are able to kind of come by and choose what they want when they're fresh?
They are, yeah. We love running the big orange, and I particularly love it. Being a people person, I love to see people come and pick out what they want, and we have every variety that's ripe. We try to have it on the stand, and we sell it at I feel it's a good price for the customers, and they can mix and match what they get, and we'll have it stocked 24 hours a day because it's an honor system fruit stand. So it's very unique right now because it's self-serve. There's very limited contact, and you just drop your money in the little box and away you go with your fresh vitamin C.
That is wonderful. And so I wanted to ask you too, and that was a good segue. What has changed with you with your markets? We talked a little bit about it, but in the last month and a half because of COVID-19, you know, what have been some good things? What have been some challenging things for you? And what do you see kind of going forward as well?
For our mainline products, the oranges and lemons, nothing really changed except they picked up the pace of picking right when everything was getting a little, you know, short supply on food and whatnot. There was a run on produce, and citrus that went to the packing house just was flying off the trees, which was great. It was time to do that. On the specialty side, we saw our orders just come to a halt, which was really sad because right now it's perfect Mandarin Quat season. We need to finish them up. They're hanging on the trees. So we haven't been able to pick up the momentum there. So I'm really hopeful that the produce managers will kind of open it up because the Mandarin Quat is such a fun piece of fruit. We need to offer some fun and joy to the consumers out there. So I'm hopeful in the next couple weeks we'll maybe open back up and be able to send more product out to the produce markets. as a result, I've set up on eBay, I've been offering some produce for sale, and I'm setting up another online platform as well. And so we're going to hope that we can sell more online and through the fruit stand.
Got it. So Katie, we just lost your video feed. We can hear you, but we can't see you anymore. I don't know if there was just something that internet-wise you just lost a little bit of connection, or, but we can hear you, so that's fine. We can still keep talking. I wanted to ask you, well, two things. I don't know if you heard Governor Newsom there's been 2 new programs that in conjunction with CDFA. Did we lose her completely? Okay. We lost her completely. Let's see if she can try to dial back in. You never know. So I'll just finish this thought. 2 programs that have been just launched by Governor Newsom within the last week. One that was yesterday, which is that for all these farmers that have all this extra produce, just like Katie's talking about, that is unable to be harvested and going to the normal food service line of supply chain, there has been some very large donations, very large, in the multi-millions of dollars, that have enabled us to be, the state to be able to purchase products like Katie's from the farmer directly, and those are going to food banks. So this is going to, she's absolutely right. Everybody should be enjoying these incredible products right now rather than them sitting on the trees or dropping. So some pretty incredible, again, multi-million-dollar donations that have come in to be able to allow for that. So that was one program. And then the other program, which was launched earlier this week, it's been a big week for food, has been, and many of you may have heard about, you know, obviously restaurants for the most part are completely shut down, but there are some restaurants around the state that are doing programs where they're producing hot food, hot meals, especially for senior citizens and those in need that don't have access to hot meals, and you know, for lots of different reasons, need that healthy food, and it's best if it comes already made. So they're starting up these restaurants as commissaries, kind of large commissaries, and so that's another big thing that was launched on Monday or Tuesday, is again, multi-million dollars out there to restaurants to be able to purchase local food, as well as, of course, bring back some of their employees and produce these great hot meals that are healthy and utilizing lots of great local food and produce from our farmers. Again, so that we can, these kinds of things can kind of come back up a little bit in the numbers and be able to feed people who need it. So if you haven't been paying attention to the stuff going on around the state with Governor Newsom, he's been very, very focused on agriculture and food access this week. And I know all of us in Yolo County are super excited because we have some of those programs going already, and this is going to be a big infusion of dollars to continue to do that. So Katie, any update? Did you hear from Katie? Katie?
Yes, she is on. If Letty can unmute her, that would be great. Thank you, Letty.
Yep, there she is. She's back. Hi, Katie.
I'm back. Sorry about that. I've been thinking orange thoughts. So
oh my God, we need one of those mugs. Those are great. So Katie, I was just telling the folks about a couple of new programs that Governor Newsom launched this week, but I won't, and those are to buy produce directly from the farmers to go to food banks so that you actually can sell your produce. So make sure that if you don't already have a connection to a local food bank, that they know about you and remind them about that money that is available for them to purchase. And I think you're right, specialty food like this is what we all need right now. We need some of that, something that's gonna put a smile on your face, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that would be great. So I will reach out to my local food bank for sure.
Please do. And then I wanted to make sure that we have a little bit of time to talk about kiwis, because you also are now in the kiwi business. So why don't you tell us why you got into the kiwi business and what are you doing with that?
Sure, that's a great opportunity to talk about what's happening in citrus that led us to a little diversification. So citrus has a pest that is coming this way, and it's called the Asian citrus psyllid, and it carries a disease called Hualangbing or citrus greening disease, and it's a disease that could wipe out the entire citrus industry here in California, much like it did in Florida and as it's done in the Southern Hemisphere. And so we wanted to diversify because right now, most of our eggs are in the citrus basket, and studying ag economics, diversification can be really good out of your commodity. So we started diversification with cherries. And we have a small block of cherries, and cherries are a much higher risk commodity. There's not a lot of risk or inputs in citrus per se, but cherries, it's high risk, high reward. And so you kind of make it big every so many years, and the other years you just kind of barely scrape by. And so that's not a sure bet to diversification. So looking around, there was a potential for some kiwis. And so we partnered with a local farmer who has a patented variety called the Mega Kiwi. And we started putting in some kiwi vineyards and learning all about that. So now we do have about 45 acres planted of kiwis, and they're all on a trellis system, and they have a shade cloth over them. And so it is a new way that we're growing some of the kiwis.
Yes, and I know that when I visited and I toured with you, first of all, that I didn't have any idea that they were called vineyards. You just actually something that I just learned something. I was just thinking they were orchards, but yeah, vineyards makes more sense because they're on a trellis system just like grapes are. So if you can, for those of you who can kind of think about what wine grapes look like, that's kind of like what this looks like, but they're bigger. The plants are taller and the trellis systems are taller, and then those shade cloths. So tell us why the shade cloth, because I remember talking to you about that, and it's really interesting. Why would we want to have all of these kiwis shaded? And 45 acres, that's a lot to have in shade.
Yeah, and as we learn more, shade cloth is characteristic in a lot of other countries where you have a really intense sunlight environment. And so especially over in like Israel and some of the countries over there, they use a lot of shade cloth technology. And so it allows you to grow a plant that is a subtropical in an environment that has the really harsh summer. And so you can shade and block out some of the UV and sunlight that would damage the big kiwi leaves and really dry them out. They do grow them without shade cloth as well in our area, and they're very successful as well. But going in, we wanted to give this a try to give them a little bit of protection from the sun and see if they would grow a little bit better.
Okay, and so what's the difference with the Mega Kiwi? Like if you had to describe it to somebody who's maybe sorry about my lights behind me, there's some construction work going on in the room. Well, how would you describe the difference in size, for example?
Sure. So a traditional kiwi can kind of range in size, but they're kind of like an egg. That's kind of how I think of a regular kiwi, is a lot of egg, or the size of an egg, and then you have to peel it. Most people peel them to eat them, and so that's a lot of peeling to do. So the Mega Kiwi is more like an oblong, I don't know, not quite a soda can, but they can get really large, and the hope is to grow them large enough to like a potato, like a small potato size russet potato. I wish I had a piece of fruit that represented the kiwi.
That's okay.
Yeah, but it's a little bit larger, and that way when you're doing the effort of peeling them, and it will be a lot less peeling to do, and so food service could really get a big benefit out of that, as well as your consumer. And they're packed with vitamins, and they are one of the superfoods, and real high concentration of vitamin C and good minerals and whatnot.
And so where are those, because I know, again, you use a local packer and they do all of the advertising and things like that and promotion. And so where would we find Mega Kiwis? What kinds? Are they in the grocery store?
I believe they're distributed through Sam's Clubs and maybe a few other grocery stores, but you're absolutely right. We use Mega Kiwi, and they pack and market the fruit, and so I don't really know where it goes. It's just about in its second or third year of distribution, which is continuing to grow as the vines come on in maturity. So follow Mega Kiwi and you can find out more.
Well, that's perfect. And so it's 11 o'clock, so I just had one more question for you, and of course, anything that you wanted to share. And we will make sure when this gets up on YouTube, we'll have your information and social media and all that kind of thing, so people can follow you and find out where your big orange is in case people are in the area. But there's a lot of bees flying by. And there's a ton of birds as well. I can hear the birds and it just sounds so beautiful. But I wanted to ask about the bees. Do citrus need bees to pollinate? I think they do. I just wanted to make sure about that. And do you have your own bees, or do you bring them in at certain times of the year? How does that work?
That's a great question, because there are always bees around citrus orchards, and so everyone thinks we need bees, but really the bees like us because they really like to come and get built up by the citrus blossom and pollen. And so we actually have a beekeeper that he comes and puts his bees here and needs us to do that. So in citrus we don't need bees. And in fact, if you drive by some mandarin orchards, you'll actually see bee netting covering the entire tree row, because the mandarins, a certain variety, if the bee lands on that flower with pollen from a different citrus, it will create a seed in that mandarin, and everyone wants seedless mandarins. So the mandarin growers of that variety try to keep the bees out. We don't mind the bees. They come and they don't cause us any harm, and they can build up and make some great honey. And then in the kiwis, we actually need the bees to pollinate and create fruit. And same in the cherries. We need them to pollinate the cherry fruit. So 2 commodities, we need the bees, and 1 commodity, the bees like us. So that's how that works.
You've chosen well then. It's very symbiotic. I love that. That's great. Well, thank you so much, Katy. If you have anything to finish off today to say, please do that. I'd love to give you that opportunity. Otherwise, we can also complete the day and go on for other good things that we're doing today, I'm sure.
Great. I'll just end by encouraging everyone to think orange thoughts and to just continue to eat a lot of citrus and vitamin C rich products in this time, and really do some self-care, and just everyone to take care and stay well and get out in the sunshine. And and the next time you're down in our area, give us a shout out, and I'd love to give you a tour or have you come by the fruit stand.
Oh, that's perfect. And you're so right. Building up our immune systems right now, it's always a good idea, but even more so right now. So thanks for that. So thank you, Katy. Thanks for joining from the field. We really appreciate it. And I can't wait to see you whenever the next time will be. Thanks for everything.
Thank you, Katy.
Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.